Okay, kingdom fungi, yes. Kingdom fungi, then we do have a very specific features that we can actually explain here, okay, or describe. So all of them, they are fungus, they are member of the eukaryotic organism, including yeast, okay, the one we use, a baker yeast, mold, like for example, the black mold, okay, bread mold, and mushroom that normally we eat, okay. So they belongs to this kingdom fungi. One very, very specific characteristics, okay. So different from the plantae, bacterial, okay, they have sour and some okay, my mistake here, protoctis. Change it, protoctis is, they have sour, but it's a chitin sour. This one you have to know. They not only have sour, but the sour is very special. It's a chitin sour. It's a different structure, not cellulose, not peptidoglycan, not S layer. Okay, so similar to eukaryotic cell, they have the nucleus, okay, and contain DNA with the non-coding region and coding regions, membrane-bound organelle, mitochondria, but they don't have the chloroplast. Yeah, be careful. Okay, now, in terms of carbohydrate storage, they have glycogens found similar in animals. Are you clear? But they do have other kind of the sugar, let's say mannitols, and also the disaccharide trehalose. Okay, a bit special for them. But again, they store glycogen similar to animal. Now, because they are heterotropics, so means that the lack of the chloroplast. And the special features of the fungi, they grow as a hyphae, a thread-like structure. The cells, if you look at most of the organism, okay, when the formation of cells, normally they won't form a long structure. Basically, like humans, we form around, continue around. It's not a thin line, a thread structure, but fungus, yes. And this thin thread-like structure is known as the hyphae. And collectively, they develop into a mycelium. Can you see that? Mycelium. Okay, so the whole thing is the reproductive structure. Can you see that? Producing the spore. Okay, so those are the threads. So when you look at the mushroom, okay, you can actually move, take out one thread by thread. Can you see that? Okay, it's not a whole structure, but you can take out it thread by thread. Okay. So hyphae can be either septate or coenocytic. So what it means coenocytics. So basically septate hyphae. Septate hyphae means got a partition, but coenocytics without the partitions. One of the special features of the fungus, they have this hostorium. Now, what's the hostorium? If you look at the structure here, the hostorium basically is some structure that can penetrate into the cells, and then not into the cell, but basically they will form a structure that can absorb the nutrient, because we do know that fungus, they are heterotrophic. Heterotrophic basically means that they won't be able to carry out the photosynthesis. They cannot produce or synthesize their own organic carbon compound from the inorganic source. Okay, so they form this structure. So this structure can release the enzyme and absorb the nutrient. So this structure is called hostoriums, developed from the fungus hyphae. Okay. So fungi in all major division form the hostoriums. So this hostorium is an appendage or the portions of the parasitic fungus that grow into or around another structure to absorb water or nutrient. Hostorium is formed when the specialized fungus hyphae penetrate a plant cell wall and expand inside the cell. However, the hostorium is not located directly inside the cytoplasm. So it's surrounded by the extrahostoral membrane, a thickened derivative of the plant cell plasma membrane. So lying between the extrahostoral membranes and the fungus hostoral wall is a gel-like layer known as the extrahostoral matrix, and is surrounded by the hostoral wall. Okay. So generally, the penetration of the fungus increases the surface area for the absorptions. Understand the concept? Okay, so increase the surface area. Okay, in contact with the host plasma membrane. So hostorium complex formation adding a significant mass to the cell, expanding between the cell wall and the cell membrane. The hyphae also narrow as it passes through the cell wall and then expand on the invaginating cells. So what they do, the host supply the organic carbon compound for the fungus. Because of fungus, they are heterotrophics. Okay, so a quick one to draw the structure for you guys to have a look. Now look at this. This is a plant cell. So the plant cell wall. Okay, then we do have this hyphae. So the hyphae actually can penetrate into the cell. When they penetrate into the cells, they start to form these hosterium. But do remember that they are not directly enter into the cytoplasm. So it means that if I use a red color to show the membranes of the plant, you realize that this membrane actually surrounding the hosterium. So means that the hosterium actually, they do not penetrate into the cell cytoplasm, but they increase the surface area for the absorptions of the nutrient from the plant cells. This is how they function. So hosterium is a feature. No other organism can do this. Hosterium is a feature of the fungi. Fungi can do this, okay? How they reproduce? They reproduce through the vast number of spore. So can you see that the structure here? Release the spore into the air. So what we eat actually is a reproductive structure of a fungus, okay? So kingdom fungi, this one important, okay? So they are eukaryotic cells. So basically they have the cell, nucleus, they have the double membrane bound organelles, but they do not have the chlorophyll, they do not carry out photosynthesis, they don't have the chloroplast. So heterotrophic nutrition. So they use the organic carbon compound made by other organisms. So it means that they are saprophytic. Saprophytic means that feed on the decaying material, or they are parasitic. Parasitic basically means that they feed on the living organism, okay? So they reproduce by means of the spore. They have very simple body form, which may be unicellular or make up a long thread called hyphae. So large fungi such as the mushroom produce a large compact mass of hyphae known as a fruiting body, and they can release the spore. Cell wall, chitin, not cellulose, so they don't have the cilia and flagella. So what are the specific features? Specific features, okay, right, highlights. So they have the cell wall, but cell wall is a chitin. Okay, second, they form hyphae. Okay, they form hyphae and they do have the hosteriums. Okay, so these two are the specific features for kingdom fungi. Specific features for kingdom fungi. You won't get these features in other what we call these kingdoms. Okay, so they can be unicellular like yeast. They can be unicellular like yeast, or they have a long tract of the cells. Okay, so with or without the cross wall, it doesn't matter, but they form hyphae and the mycelium. Okay, so what are the phylum in the kingdom fungi? For example, can you see the mycota? Mycota. So mycota basically means that fungus. Okay, so zygomycota include what? Includes our bread mold. Can I see that? Then we do have the ascomycota. Generally, you can see that they form a cup. Okay, so asco basically means a sac. Okay, it forms something like sac, and also include our yeast here. Okay, and then the one that normally we eat is belong to the Basidiomycota, where they have the fruiting body. Can you see that? The shiitake mushroom, can you see a fruiting body? So what we eat here actually is the reproductive system. Okay, so they produce a spore, the spore called basidiospore. Okay, so one of the features here, did I put it in? Yeah, okay. So they release a spore. They reproduce through by releasing the spore. Okay. So continue. Stop recording.